My name is Brian Scordato and I'm from New York City. I was playing basketball and I got clotheslined. I got hit across the face here and snapped my head back. This was about 2 years ago, and I had the normal concussion symptoms afterwards. I rested for a couple of weeks, maybe a month. The symptoms started to slowly go away and I went back to work, but I kept on having headaches, and the headaches got kind of worse and worse. I went and tried a bunch of different outlets. I tried a whole bunch of doctors. I tried physical therapy, I tried chiropractor, I tried acupuncture, I tried everything. And basically for 2 years I just had a headache all the time. I had very foggy brain. My eyes would hurt a lot and I was always tired. I never wanted to be doing anything. It was really pretty bad. So that's, I eventually found my way here. So a few things happened since I've been here, and the first was sort of the fog's been lifted a little bit, and almost completely, I should say. I've been told why that happens. Basically, I'm able to now get blood flow through my head, which has been pretty amazing. It's sort of night and day as to how I was feeling even like 3 weeks ago. Also, my neck is now movable. So I have a rental car and I can like check my blind spots, which is great. So everything's just sort of loosening up and I can kind of feel all my normal head functions coming back. It's totally different here, where it's sort of this very scientific approach where you take all sorts of measurements. You're constantly giving these numbers of pain to see how things are improving. You have a really long and intense therapy session each day where you're stretching, doing weight training. You've got someone with you the whole time who's making sure you're doing everything properly and adding resistance. It couldn't be more different, and the stretches, like 80% of the stuff, stretches and strengthening I've never done before. Yeah, so I love running. I used to do triathlons every summer, and since then the pounding, I just haven't been able to do really anything active. So I'm incredibly excited to get back to triathlons and specifically running. Also, I'm just excited to be able to sit at a desk and do my work without having it be the worst thing in the world and having like a limit of like, all right, I have 2 hours at desk today, let's see what I can get done. Really looking forward to that. If you have what I have, and I think if you're watching this, you probably do, it's just really hard to describe what's going on. But you get here and they've treated it so many times that there's like this whole vocabulary around all of the symptoms that you have. And it makes it a lot easier to say like, oh, well, I have pain right here and it sort of radiates behind my eye, and they're like, oh, well, if you do X and Y, you'll be able to take care of that. So now you have like this whole vocabulary. It gets pretty rough. I know I was in like a really bad place for a long time, and it just feels like kind of get sick of doctors saying like, oh, well, you have to just learn how to deal with this or manage it, or like the much worse one, which I hope you haven't heard, but I definitely heard, which is, are you sure this is actually happening? Are you sure this isn't actually in your head? And it's like, that's very frustrating because it's like ruining your life and no one sort of believes you. But I would say that it's like much less of a mystery than it seems to be once you get to people who know what they're talking about. So you come here and you're like, oh, I have this mystery thing, and then they're like, oh no, like these things are tight right here, and you learn all about like SEMs and stuff, and it's just like not as much as a mystery as people make it out to be. With PCS, you can kind of get used to your symptoms, and people are really good at adapting to stuff. So I think I was just like, oh, well, if I sit like this, sometimes I can get some work done. And like, it was a big trip to take 2 weeks off of work and come to a place in Canada that I had never been or had never heard of. And I just think it's really worth it. Like, you can get back to how you were, and chances are that you're probably not even noticing a bunch of symptoms that you could take care of. So I think it's one of those things that's worth like making sure you go after it aggressively. And so I'm really glad that I'm here, and I would actually say that like you should at least get on the phone and speak with them, and I would really recommend doing this.